Alleged squatting, even organized squatting, according to observers, is spreading across the region. Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland was on the scene of a taxpayer-funded redevelopment project in Baltimore that was purportedly seized by unauthorized occupants.
Just when I think things can't get any dumber, just when I think things can't get any more ridiculous, I mean, in the previous story that we talked about in terms of Baltimore squatting, we covered the fact that Facebook Marketplace is being utilized in order to connect would-be squatters with the homes, and the squatters admit to the police that they have fraudulent documents, but they say it's okay because God is on their side.
She's advertising squatter homes. Like, she does this for a certain fee, and she'll move you into somebody's property that's not yours, which is about my case.
Are you concerned that now you're in a situation where probably in the foreseeable future, you guys are going to have to find another place to live after spending thousands?
Well, I know that's what's going to happen, but God has always got my back. And when you don't do things to people, your blessings will come. So making sure he's blessed back with his home the same way it was left, that's going to make sure that I'm good and make sure God keeps blessing me.
And I genuinely, legitimately thought that was as dumb as it was going to get. But in this particular story, we have a tale of a taxpayer-funded rehab for a property. So the government is heavily involved in the property that was just seized by squatters, by criminal squatters, as we will find out throughout the course of this video. And guess what? Even though it is a property that the government is running, that they are supposed to give to a very specific family as a part of this grant, as a part of this project, the police are somehow, in this particular case, powerless to intervene. They can't do anything, even though we all understand, based on the records, that the people who are currently occupying this dwelling have no right to be there. But unfortunately, it's Baltimore, it's a left-wing city, so if you steal a home, you have every right to the property because that's how our laws are set up. Now, we're going to get into this, we're going to break this down, but before we do, I got to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
As our team continues to relentlessly investigate social media fuel networks that are connecting individuals to properties they have allegedly no legal authority to rent or sell.
Just talk to y'all. I just showed y'all my lease. I want to know what's the problem now.
Sources alerted us to an alleged active squatter takeover on East 22nd Street in Baltimore City on Friday afternoon, as police also arrived for alleged burglary call.
The absolute audacity of these individuals is astounding. This man opens up this segment by saying, "Get off my property. I just showed you my lease and my paperworks, so you need to leave my property," which, by the way, is 100% undeniably and unambiguously not his property. I also want to point out that Fox 45 is blurring this guy's face. They're blurring the face of this criminal, of this person who stole this property, and this is really starting to piss me off because the only way to actually have consequences for these squatters is to name and shame them, and I don't understand why they continue to do this. In the previous segments, they said it was because it was a condition of them agreeing to talk on camera, but in this particular case, they're just filming an active police situation. The guy is yelling down at the officers that he wants them off his property when everybody knows and understands without any shadow of a doubt that this man has no right to be here. This is a home that is currently being fixed for the taxpayer so that it can be given to somebody or somebody can be allowed to live there that is deserving of the property. This guy is a criminal who, by the way, has active warrants against him. And guess what? The police are going to walk away from this scene. I'm going to spoil the ending for you guys. The police are going to leave this scene.
I know y'all can get in. You can get in by smashing the door open.
The property management company's worker attempted to gain access to the back door, but it was braced. We're here in the alleyway, waiting for police to go ahead and get a warrant to breach the door to gain access to the property. We'll see what happens.
So right there, we just saw a very piss poor demonstration of trying to break down this door. But the thing is, because this is the city of Baltimore, because crime is so high, the door is actually reinforced. So once you actually break into the property, and by the way, the police were called initially for a burglary call because these people did break into the property, and you lock it up behind you, it's actually incredibly difficult for somebody else to get in. But since the property manager can't get the door open because the locks have been changed, all the normal tricks tricks that we know with squatters. We've seen them a million times. The police have to get a warrant, so they end up calling a judge, and this should be a very easy situation for them to resolve. In fact, I would argue, since it's a burglary, an active crime scene, they shouldn't need a warrant in order to breach because it is an ongoing crisis. It's called exigent circumstances. But in this case, they're waiting for the warrant, and guess what? That warrant is never going to come. The judge is not going to issue a warrant, even though this is an ongoing situation that is clear and obvious to anyone. And if you needed any more proof that these people had no right to live there, other than the fact that this is quite literally a taxpayer-funded home that is supposed to be assigned to a specific person that are none of the people who are currently occupying this dwelling, you need look no further than the next bit of information that you get from our local Fox 45 affiliate over in Baltimore.
Police identified the woman inside had an ankle monitor on, and the male occupant had active warrants for his arrest. A police sergeant explained the situation to the occupants.
Come in, take a lockbox, advertise it on Facebook, Craigslist, all that kind of stuff, and rent it out. But the person renting it out might not be anyone who owns the house at all. It might just, a lot of times, I'm saying it's looked that way.
While we waited from the safe location, the man and woman peered out and spoke to police multiple times.
Yeah, you heard that right. The woman that is currently in this location has an ankle monitor. So she is also a criminal. And guess what? An ankle monitor is to monitor your comings and goings from your residence, your actual listed address, and where you're supposed to be in terms of work or wherever. Guess what? They know for a fact that this woman's residence is not this location. So they know 100% that she stole this home. And of course, this guy's like, nah, man, we paid $2,800, as he has active warrants for his arrest for other violent crimes that he's not being held accountable for. And the police are still waiting on that warrant. But I already spoiled it for you, but let's hear it from the local news because it's that absurd. The warrant never came.
The authority to enter the home never came. The police shield was put away, the battery ram removed from the scene.
Again, you heard that right. Because the warrant never came, even though one of these people has an ankle monitor, they're a criminal. Even though the other person has active warrants for his arrest, also a criminal, the police had to pack up their battering ram and go home. And I want to remind you guys of the Majority Report and this absolute dope Matt Binder, who said there's no such thing as squatters' rights, but there absolutely should be. It's definitely something that we need because the alternative is so horrible and so violent.
There's no actual squatters' rights in New York, at least. There should be, but
to the extent that it exists anywhere, it's because the alternative is brutality that people actually can't fathom, even in bygone years. That's why squatters' laws exist in England or whatever. It's because otherwise you just can't. Because we're so used to enforcing, bending society towards the capitalist needs now that we can't even fathom how these sorts of rights could have ever been enshrined for people that just need shelter.
That these people over on the Majority Report know absolutely nothing of which they speak, because obviously there are squatters' rights. Obviously those rights are way out of whack with where they should be, and a perfect example of that is this case right here. You couldn't have a more obvious case of people not being allowed to occupy a specific dwelling than this, and guess what? They're still remaining in the property. The police show up. They know it's a burglary. They showed up for the B&E. These guys said, we have a fake lease. They found it, of course, on one of those squatter connection nonsense, so they know it's fake from the jump. The police know that. You have an ankle monitor on one of them that says that they don't live there. You have active warrants for their arrest, and they can't even get a warrant to bust in and arrest these individuals. They have to leave them be. And by the way, this is a taxpayer-funded home that is meant to go to somebody that is chosen by the city of Baltimore, and they know for a fact they didn't choose this person. Yet still, in this particular case, despite the fact that the dopes over in the Majority Report deny the existence of squatters' rights, they have to go through the regular ordinary eviction process. They have to spend 1 to 2 years or pay them out a settlement in order to get them out of the property, because that's how ridiculous the squatters' rights situation in Baltimore actually is.
I saw a gentleman walking out the house, and he didn't look like he was anyone that was even a subcontractor of the guys that we, pretty much hired.
Property owner Joanna Bartholomew says she never thought that she would fall victim to a purported online squatter scheme.
He told me that, he's been living here. I said, you couldn't be living here because I own the building. My organization owns the building. There's no way that you could be living here. He said he has a lease. You can talk to my girlfriend or my fiance.
Bartholomew's company connects first-time homebuyers to qualify homes at affordable prices.
So yeah, this woman right here is the head of the organization that owns this property. They have a contract from the city of Baltimore that says that they are supposed to build up this property, make it sellable, and that way they're going to connect it with first-time home buyers in order to revitalize the city. Now, whatever you think of these taxpayer-funded programs, whatever you think of the city of Baltimore managing who gets a home and who doesn't, set that aside for a moment and realize that even though all of this information is true, all of these people are on scene at the time that the police are there, they still could not remove them from the home. Now, eventually, the guy was arrested, on his warrants. He did get the consequences for that later on, but the fact is, this is still his residency, and even though he is a criminal with a long rap sheet, multiple different warrants, that doesn't make a difference. She still has to go to the eviction court. Even though the taxpayer is invested in this, it's not supposed to be rented at all as a part of the agreement. It is supposed to be, of course, sold to a first-time home buyer. There's nothing they can do.
The property owner said that she's beyond frustrated with the impact that squatting is having on everyone in the community.
This is a community revitalization project, supported by state and city funds, and we have a squatter here, and it should be going to a hardworking, family individual that can be able to, become a homeowner.
Do you think that those people who are selling fraudulent leases online, should they be held accountable for their actions?
Absolutely. That individual who committed that, they need to be held accountable. I mean, they're only now communicating with the officers through text saying that they're out of town. They're not available to get on the phone.
So again, obviously you got to hold the people that are selling these fraudulent leases accountable, but the fact is that these people know full well that they are buying squatter properties, that they're just being informed about it. They're making the connection. So the people who are doing this are also criminals.
They should definitely be held accountable. Trust and believe I'll be making a lot of phone calls and emails to be able to get this at a greater attention so we can hopefully get this matter resolved sooner.
Before he left the scene this afternoon, Bartholomew was told she is likely stuck with resolving this matter in civil court because a female refused to leave with her children, despite another occupant arrested with outstanding warrants.
Now, look, I got nothing against this woman. I'm setting aside all my issues with the management of the housing market by Democrats in these left-wing cities and pointing out that she does, in fact, work for a nonprofit or own a nonprofit that is trying to fix this property up in order to make a first-time home buyer happy, make their lives easier. And regardless what I feel about the efficacy of that particular program, the fact is this is an impediment that nobody should face. And it just goes to show you, it cuts to the heart of the issue, that the laws in these liberal cities like Baltimore, like New York City, before they actually patched one of their laws, by the way, are just wildly in favor of the tenant, so much so that even these criminal squatters that show up a day before they're discovered can just show you a backdated document and say that they live here, and the police become absolutely powerless, even though, again, you have somebody on an ankle monitor and you have another individual with open active warrants. Again, it's absolute madness. It's ridiculous, but what do we expect? It's the city of Baltimore. Now, of course, those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the absolute madness in Baltimore. Till next time.